Back in the 9 o'clock. They have supported each other all the way. And even though some of their fights have ended up physical, let's hope that doesn't happen today, Stacey says she really wouldn't want anybody else to be beside her today. Alicia has travelled all the way from Australia. Hello, Alicia. She's come from Sydney. Stacey and Alicia bonded over a shared love of horses, Prosecco and boys, in that order. Funnily enough, they both ended up with their perfect match. Sarah M. Sarah M has known Stacey since they were just babies, and being childhood friends has created a bond that has lasted for 23 years. Now, Sandy is Matthew's brother Stephen's wife, or sister-in-law, as you could say, and she met Stacey when she interrupted a wild game of Scrabble. Next, we've got Iona and Ailey, who are Stacey's cousins, and she says she's very excited to share today with both of you. Such very beautiful girls who she's loved watching growing up. Matthew stands with his best man, well, he was going to, but obviously they sat down. His best man and brother Stephen. Matthew was Stephen's best man at his wedding to Sandy, so he thought he should better return the favour. Ryan and Matthew's friendship grew in a damp cellar below Ryan's parents' house, where they got themselves a bit of the name of throwing some notorious parties. Jack and Aaron, is Aaron or Aaron? Aaron, thank you, I knew I'd get that wrong. Jack and Aaron met Matthew on their apprenticeship training, and they've shared their fair share of wild nights ever since. Finally, we have Aidan. Hello, Aidan. Iona and Ailey's brother, and Matthew's little best friend. Of course, everybody here in this room has been a beloved part of the lives of the bride and groom. This is why you were invited. And from day one of the wedding planning, Matthew and Stacey have been very keen to assure that the people who make their lives so rich and whose friendship they treasure, namely you, should share in the celebration of their wedding. And they wanted it to be a relaxed and sociable and shared experience. So it is Team Hardy Crone to be's sincerest hope that you all take some time during the course of today to get to know each other, because whether or not you realise it, you are all part of a very special confluence of events that have brought Matthew and Stacey to this place and this moment together. So are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin telling you the story of Matthew and Stacey. It began in 2013. Matthew was sitting in the back seat of a friend's car when she pulled up in a little blue Mini for a chat. Now, Matthew's friend had a secret crush that he had harboured for years, and that was the evening Matthew realised why. But still unknown to Stacey, they met again later that year when they shared a night out in Matthew's usher Ryan's car. I think, with Matthew usher Ryan. What stood out for Matthew that night was that Stacey was as wild as though she'd had 10 G&Ts, but she hadn't even had a drink. Now, Stacey said what stood out for her was that she had to stop her car for the idiot in the back being sick. After a few years of crossing paths while partying, it wasn't until late 2015 when they shared a night out that things finally began to fall into place. Now, Stacey went home that night. She told her mum about Matthew. She tried to justify to Jane that he was just a friend. But looking back, she says, I should have realised there and then this is the man I'm going to marry. A few months later, they took the first of the many trips to Fuerteventura, and after a few too many cocktails, Stacey held Matthew's head over the toilet. Little did they know that this was not going to be the last time this would happen. But their love grew over food and travel and, of course, partying. Now, it was on the 9th of April 2017 at his Nana Crone's birthday party. You with his Nana Crone? I thought you were falling asleep there. Right. Matthew got down on one knee in front of his whole family to propose to Stacey. Her initial response was, "Oh no!" And then there followed a lot of tears from her and from her family. And it wasn't until a couple of hours later that Stacey realised she hadn't actually answered the question yet. So to Matthew's relief, she said yes. Now, of course, Stacey and Matthew had spoken before about getting engaged, and Stacey said, there's just one thing that I really want for when you make the proposal, and the important thing to me is that your dad, Peter, looking at Peter, hello Peter, should be there to capture the moment because Peter is a very good photographer. Well, it's a pretty good indication of the kind of relationship that Stacey and Matthew have. That out of Matthew's entire family, the only person who was not present at the proposal was, you guessed it, Peter. Stacey says she doesn't really mind because she now has a carrot on her finger to remember the moment. Yeah. 2017 saw a year of firsts for both of them. They bought their very first home together, 12 Victoria Street, which underwent some major renovations before they were able to move in. It was a very interesting process in which they made every mistake possible. And if there are ever any further renovations, Matthew will be the chief tea maker, because some of his more interesting ideas led him to be demoted on that ladder. Matthew was the guy who had the idea of sticking carpet protector to laminate flooring. It's still there. Matthew has a very interesting painting technique where he goes over the light switches rather than around them. In the interest of fairness, it should be said that Stacey has also made her fair share of mistakes too. Like when putting hooks up, Stacey, they're not meant to stick out on the other side of the wall. And then came the little baby, Bindi. Stacey was told by Matthew she's not allowed a cat, so they compromised and got a kitten. Matthew says she's a pest, but Stacey knows otherwise when she sees them cuddled up on the sofa together. Now, as you probably gathered, the whole point of a humanist wedding is that it gives a couple the freedom to say in their own words, you know, why are we here, and where are we going, and eventually, what are we promising? So when I met Matthew and Stacey, the first thing I told them was, you're going to write this, and I gave them some homework to do. Now, part of the homework to tell the story, which you just heard, but I also asked them to think about what it is made them realise that this is the person that they want to share the rest of their life with. Matthew said Stacey's made me feel a lot more confident. When we first met, I was rather shy. Now she complains, I never shut up. But she still loves me regardless. Stacey says, I love that it starts and finishes with Matthew. I wake up in the morning to him kissing me goodbye, and I go to sleep at night with him by my side. Everything I do, I think of Matthew. Matthew says, I love Stacey's amazing smile which I get to see every day, and it just reminds me of how happy I am being with her. That was not a very good smile. Stacey says, I love that Matthew feeds Bindi in the morning. I'm not a morning person, she says. But I also asked them to think about what it is that marriage means to them. They said that we share the same view about what we want from marriage, and that is to spend the rest of our lives with the one person that we love. We will support each other through good times and bad, and we will challenge each other to be the best people that we can be. And as we go through our lives together, we'll bring our individual principles and morals and aims in life to our marriage, and that is what will shape our future together. And they say, yeah, we know marriage is exciting, and it can be rewarding, but we are aware there will be challenges, and we'll bear those in mind as we go forward. Now, that's brought us to the heart of our ceremony. So, Stacey, give me your bouquet for a second. Let me put this down on the table. Can I ask you to step a good deal closer to your family and friends? Probably a wee further. There. Okay. Hand on the right. Yeah. Good. Face each other and hold hands. Now we're doing this repeat after me. So first things first. Don't look at me. Okay. So, Stacey and Matthew, you're coming today to declare your love and commitment to one another in front of your families and your closest friends. The promises you're about to make will form the basis of the next stage of your lives together. Now, Matthew, I'm going to ask you some questions in small groups. Okay? So do you promise to make Stacey always feel special and loved every day of married life and never take her for granted? I do. Stacey, do you promise to look after Matthew in sickness and in health?
I do.
Matthew, do you promise to be the best husband you can be to Stacey, try not to get her upset, and really be there for her when she needs you the most? Stacey, do you promise to share half your juice with Matthew, even when you don't want to? And now, I need the assistance of a young gentleman from the audience. Aidan, it's your big moment. Can you come forward, please? Come and stand in between me and them. You turn around, get that. So, we've got several rings in here, haven't we? Let's see. Now, Matthew's going to get to go first. Can you give him a wee ring, please? Okay, good man. So take the ring out, put the box back to Aidan. Thank you. Stacey, put your left hand forward, drop your right hand by your side. Take your left hand with your left hand, put the ring on her finger, and I'm going to ask you to repeat this phrase after me. So I, Matthew Graham Crone, take you, Stacey Hardy, to be my wife. Okay, Aidan, which ring do you want to give to Stacey? Put your left hand forward, Matthew, drop it right by your side, that's it. The ring in his third finger, and please repeat after me. I, Stacey Hardy, take you, Matthew Graham Crone, to be my husband. So carry on holding hands. These rings stand as a symbol of your love for one another. The unbroken circle representing unending love, happiness and peace. These rings are the permanent reminder of your love for one another and of the vows that you just exchanged. Aidan, you can go back to where you were, but don't sit down. I'm going to ask you all to stand now. So, Matthew and Stacey, we've both made a solemn and binding promise, and by virtue of these declarations made in my presence, and in the presence of the families, witnesses and friends, it is with great pleasure to pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss, and you may applaud. Knock things over. Right, have a wee seat. Breathe out and chat amongst yourselves. Stephen and Stu are our witnesses, so can you come and join the married couple at the table? Not yet. If you help, I think go and sit down in her lovely dress. Take it to the table. That's right. So if you basically choose someone to stand next to. Okay, so if you go to the left, Matthew, come around this side. And you go to the left hand side. You go to the right. Let's bring you a bit more to the corner. You can chat amongst yourselves, by the way. Sit yourself down. You can stand over here. Okay, first things first. Congratulations. Now, I'm going to show you, this is called a fountain pen. You won't be able to know what that is. It's got black indelible ink in it, which means like it really stains your fingers, so don't hold it down there. Put it around the middle of the barrel. Keep it pointing forward, and when you do your signature, just sign your name the way you normally sign it. To write it in block capitals like this on this bit of paper. So, how do you sign your name, Matthew? Matt Crowley. Okay, just do that for me. You shoot this documentary or waiting for later? Seriously. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. There you go. All right, so take pen in that box, just by how you normally sign it, and then tell me what you've written.
You're not getting away.
Okay. If you take that, and that box, and that's S-R, you can do it. Read that one. Okay, and that is Matt Crone. M. Crone. Matthew. Thank you. What does that say? You okay then? Okay, Sarah, just put your feet back. Thank you, Stuart. Right, 2 seconds. So, just double check it. Yours says S. Stephen. So, Stephen. Yes, Stephen. Right, this is where basically you now take a pen from me and pretend to write things. Don't. This is what I'm faking. What you do now is pretend to be very happy. You do it? And down too. Yes, it's fabulous. Get close. Stephen. I think pretend to write where your name actually goes.
Okay.
Any kissing? I think you'd like to kiss now. Sorry, I totally missed you. Good. Happy? Excellent. Right.